did you have to do some historical research before portraying Francis in Rain?
Yeah, we did our research beforehand, but Rain kind of fits into its own world. You know, it kind of invented a space for itself between fantasy and history. So Francis that I played and the Francis of history are two very different people. The Francis of history couldn't hold his own crown on his head during his coronation because he was so weak. He was an invalid child. He died at 15. It wasn't really clear when Francis, the version that I played, died, but I think his reign lasted slightly longer on our version. So the main thing that I used to create the character was the script, really.
Is there a trait about your character that you'd like to have, and one about yourself that you wish Francis had?
You know, I think I like Francis's loyalty and his bravery.
Yeah.
I would like to be more courageous if possible. He's very loyal to Mary. He has a strong sense of right and wrong. And I think what could have Francis done with that I've got? Probably could have had a better sense of humour sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was quite serious when he could have taken it a bit lighter, especially at the beginning. But I think maybe that was my performance. When I was 21, I was like, everything has to be serious. So yeah, if I could go back and change anything about the performance, I think I would have made it just a bit light.
Yeah. What about your work in the franchise of Harry Potter? Before portraying Dumbledore on the Deathly Hallows, were you a fan of the saga?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was a fan. I read the books. I read every single book when it came out on the day, and I was pretty much at the same age as Harry was when the books first came out. So
how was it to come back to that world with Fantastic Beasts?
that was such a nice opportunity. I mean, me and Jamie Campbell Bower had a very, very. I mean, his part was bigger than mine in the Harry Potter series. I had a flash in the pan, tiny moment that was still. It's still such a nice cameo to be able to have said that you've done to, you know. It wasn't like it, you know, exactly as being a fan. It wasn't like an acting role, but just to say, yeah, I played Dumbledore. You know, it's a cool thing. So I'm really glad that because we're actually the only two, funnily enough, the only two actors that are in both series, even though it's not the biggest part in the world. But it's nice that they brought us back and that they didn't recast us, which they could have done. They could have, because it's a big it's a big role to fill, even though it's an integral part of the story, you know, of how they grew up together, and it sets a counterpoint with Grindelwald and Dumbledore being at odds with each other as adults.
And is Dumbledore one of your favorite character on the saga, or you have another favorite character?
I mean, he's a beautiful character.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful character, and both Richard Harris and Michael Gambon played him so wonderfully, and Jude, of course, Jude Law playing him as a younger man. It's nice to take my place, even just at his early stages. It's really, really an honour.
What can you tell us about the Game of Thrones prequel series?
Unfortunately, I cannot tell you anything about the Game of Thrones prequel. Apart from that, I am incredibly excited to be on board. It is a super, super secretive project, as you can well imagine, and they want to keep everything under wraps. All my friends were like, now that you're in the prequel, have they told you what happens at the end of Game of Thrones? Like, absolutely no way. It's the same thing with working on Fantastic Beasts. They keep the information that you know to an absolute minimum. It's on a need to know basis, which is fair enough because the power of it relies on those massive reveals and the big secrets and the momentous deaths. And I'm just starting to I'm getting ready for the process of just saying no. Not saying I don't know. You know.
Yeah, you feel powerful.
You know, because I've never had to really keep secrets before, not like this. So just getting in the habit of saying I don't know anything.
Top secret.
Top secret.
Are you a fan of Game of Thrones? Were you a fan before?
Yeah. I've watched it since the beginning. and it's on tonight, isn't it?
Yeah,
So it's on in a few hours.
Exactly. I'm really excited.
And I do know something, but I can't talk about that. Yeah, well, just there's just the episode that is about to be on is going to be epic. No, I just spoke to someone who worked on it. No, it's nothing to do with death. It's just to do with the scale of it. I think it's going to be like the biggest or inspiring episode we've seen. But by the time this goes on, you'll have already seen it, so it'll be old news. Old news. So I might as well say, wasn't that good? It was good, wasn't it?
You have other plans for the future?
No, nothing at the minute. I'm working on The Last Kingdom season 4 at the minute, and then just kind of trying to juggle those two projects. But nothing else. I would really like to be able to fit in a play at some point, which I haven't done in 10 years now, because it's acting on screen can sometimes come in very small bursts. You know, you're doing 30-second takes, or very short scenes, 1-page scenes, 2-page scenes, and my brother actually just graduated from drama school in New York, and watching him on stage, I was so envious of that. Just his play was 2.5 hours long, and watching him act and also being involved with an audience, which I haven't done in so long. I think at some point, if I could just get a sneaky little play in between these things, it would be really nice.
There was a time in your career that you almost gave up acting?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of the time. Well, no, less so now, but yeah, when you don't work for a while, I mean, there are big periods where you're trying to audition and getting told no a lot, and you just think, like, what am I doing wrong? What is it that I'm not doing? Why am I not getting the part? Is it just because it's so competitive? And then you question yourself, and that can be very difficult. And at one point I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I've got to do something else with my time. And I bought a yurt. I bought a Mongolian tent, and I was going to go live in a tent in Spain. I was just going to say bye-bye to the world. And all my friends and family just kind of listened to me say that for a while and went like, okay, cool. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And they were like, yes, okay, fine. And then luckily I sort of came out of that dream state and came back to the real world. But yeah, it can be tougher, and there's no actor that is not the case for. I think every single actor has to go through that, and that's part of it. I don't think you can be successful or have gravity in what you're saying if you haven't really struggled for it. And that's actually, you're right, it's true for everything. If you don't struggle to get what you want, then what's the point in it in the first place?
We're happy you kept going with your acting.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No worries. Nice to talk to you.
No, really nice to talk to you too. Yeah.